Hi everyone. I'm so excited to see you. I've been tracking comments for the past couple of minutes and just starting to see you trickling in, and so excited to be here with you celebrating the fall equinox. And so just know that as we're going through this experience tonight, those of you who haven't done this before, I'm going to kind of walk you through my process, but the comment space is something that you can see each other's comments. I can also see them and track them, which is really helpful just in terms of that's your place to participate with me. And I do want to let you know that you have an option to opt out of publishing your comments in Ustream to Facebook. It's just something some people experienced before. So I just want to let you know that I think unless you opt out of that, your comments do publish to Facebook. And if you don't want to share those comments, you'll want to unclick that. But welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here to celebrate the fall equinox. I can't believe it's here already. We've been talking about it and thinking about it, and I have been preparing for this for what feels like months. And so we're here. I hope wherever you are in the world that the weather treated you like the season that's changing. It certainly was here in San Francisco today. You could feel it in the air that summer's over and fall is here, and it's worth celebrating, I think. So that's what we're here to do together, and I have a really special agenda or set of experiences planned for all of us tonight. So again, welcome. This is a ritual process. You don't have to have any experience with ritual in order to participate and enjoy. For those of you who weren't here for the Blue Moon ceremony last month or at the end of August, you probably didn't hear me say that this is really my soul work to make ritual available to people for free on a regular basis so that you can begin to enjoy the experience of working with the wheel of the year, which is what we do in an earth-based tradition. We honor the changing of seasons, we honor the moon phases, and so every month I'm going to be leading one of these live rituals that's free through this channel on Facebook. So I hope you'll join me. I'm going to tell you at the end of our time tonight about the October ritual, which is going to be really exciting. It's for the full moon at the end of October, and I'll tell you more about that when we're done. I'm also going to be telling you tonight who the winner of the Abundance giveaway is. I made an incredible set of candle and gems and oils and did a giveaway really to celebrate just the support that I've received from all of you through Facebook for Sage Goddess. So I'll be announcing the winner of that too in about 50 minutes from now. So again, welcome. I see people are just logging in now, and just blessings to everybody who's here in the space together, and I'm just so excited to see you pouring in. So there are, for me, for ritual, whether it's moon ritual or seasonal ritual, which is really what tonight is about, the phases or the steps in the process are really the same. And so what we're going to be doing together tonight is called raising energy, and it's very intense. Those of you who experienced it at the Blue Moon for the first time can tell your peers how intense it is and really beautiful and special. It's also very healing, and so a lot of times people will say that they haven't been feeling good, but they do a ritual in a circle like this and all of a sudden they feel better. So if that's the case for you, this might help you even on a healing level. But there are really 5 steps to a ritual process. So let me tell you what those are so you know what to expect. The first thing is I'm going to smudge my area here and smudge the computer as well, which is really our way of cleansing the air so that we can do spiritual work together and really bring in the highest energy as a group. I'll say this tonight. I always say this before I begin ritual. The quality of the energy that we raise as a collective group tonight is only as strong and as positive as the people who come into the circle together. So I need you, I'm trusting that you are coming into the circle with that intention as well. Please hold that intention that the work that we do together tonight over the next hour is for your highest good, for my highest good, and the highest good of everybody who's here with us together. Okay, so we're going to ground, we're going to clear our space, we're going to ground ourselves, and then we're going to begin the process of opening the circle and raising energy together. We raise energy so that we can do work with that energy. So once we do our visualization, which is how we raise energy together in a circle like this, and people do this in person, live, in real circles where they're holding hands. when we do ritual like this virtually, we still are holding hands and are very connected to each other, and I think you'll feel it. It's quite powerful, actually. It's really magical to see how this works via computer on the internet, and so I'm excited to show you if you haven't experienced this before. I hope it'll be a really incredible experience for you if this is your first time. So we're going to raise the energy. We're going to do some work with that energy. Tonight, the work is around releasing what isn't serving you. So I'm going to ask you in just a minute, as I smudge for a couple of minutes, I really want you to be very clear tonight about what it is that you want to release. That's the work that we're going to be doing with the energy that we're raising together. And so when I ask you to do that, you can choose 3 things that you want to release. You can choose 1 thing that you want to release and really focus the energy around that one particular thing. And I'll talk to you more about how to choose that. And then once we do the work, we raise the energy, we do the work, then we ground the energy. Because we can't, energy is a vibration and it's very strong. And so if I were to just leave the circle and let that energy keep vibrating and not ground it out, you probably wouldn't be able to sleep for a couple days. So it's really, really important to bring that vibration back down and ground that energy. And then we release that energy. And that energy is real, and there's physics behind that. And it actually goes out and does the work of manifesting the intentions that you're setting in the ritual tonight. So that is ritual process for you. If you haven't been through it before, you're about to experience it now, and I hope you just love it. There's a lot of us who are energy addicts, so ritual addicts, which is why there's a lot of return viewers here tonight for this experience. Okay, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the live feed, and I will do my best to answer them as I go. Okay, so I'm going to do that first before we do anything else. I'm going to quickly smudge with my white sage. This is just the first part of a ritual process. I never begin ritual without smudging. I smudged before I came online with you, but I want to smudge you as well. If you have white sage or Palo Santo, or even a white sage alternative, if you wouldn't mind just sort of smudging your space. I'm going to smudge my candle that I'm using for tonight's ceremony. I'm smudging the gems that I'm using to charge. I'm smudging the oil that I'll be using to anoint. I'm even smudging my water that I'm going to drink, and then I'm going to smudge myself. And just while I finish smudging my space, I really want you to take a minute and write down or think about that 1 or 2 or 3 things you are ready to release tonight. And please be sure that A, you're really ready to release it, that B, you've done the spiritual work around whatever that thing is. We can release people, we can release places, we can release experiences, we can very powerfully release feelings. And so, if you've been stuck in fear or just a perspective of limitation, or if you have been having health challenges, those are all things you can release too. But really be sure and be very clear with yourself that you've done the spiritual work so that the universe will allow you to release it. A lot of times we think we release things and we haven't done the spiritual work needed to be able to release those things, so they come right back. So in any case, I think you'll be most effective with this experience if you can really be choosing things that you're ready to let go of, and that you know that the universe is ready to allow you to let go of. Okay. So I'm going to give you just 10 or 15 seconds right now just to write that one thing down if you can. And I'm going to ask you to share it when we do our releasing ceremony in a few minutes. So if you'll be open to doing that, I would love to be able to read some of those out loud and just hold the intention with you and for you for that release. Okay, so I want to tell you quickly the story of Mabon and the story of the fall equinox and why there have been so many narratives about this particular day throughout history as far back as we have it recorded. And that's why I get so excited about some of these holidays, because they have such historical meaning and really so much significance to people throughout the ages, across cultures, across continents, across traditions. And so I just want to share with you one story that I think might have impact for you. And that's the story of Persephone's descent. It's a narrative that a lot of you might be familiar with, especially if you've studied the goddess for a long time and you're familiar with Demeter, who is the goddess of the earth. Demeter was Persephone's mother. And Persephone was known throughout the land to be the most beautiful maiden, and Hades, the god of the underworld, had seen her, had watched her playing, and he decided that he wanted her to come and be the queen of the underworld with him. And so he kidnapped Persephone from Demeter. And you know, the relationship between gods and goddesses, when we look back at mythology, there were certain understandings between them about things they did and did not do. And so this was really considered a massive violation of her rights, of Demeter's rights as a mother. And beyond just sort of mortal rights, this is really about gods and goddesses and how they interact. And so he kidnapped her and took her to the underworld. And Demeter, as a goddess of the earth, went to the underworld to reclaim her. And as Persephone was leaving, as she pulled her out of the underworld, Hades gave her a pomegranate. And she didn't realize that she was being tricked. Because Demeter, she thought she was going home with her mother. And so as she was leaving the underworld, she ate some of the seeds of the pomegranate. And so she didn't finish the pomegranate, she didn't eat the whole thing, but she ate half of it. And so what she didn't realize was that was the trick. And so now she was forced to spend half of the year in the underworld with Hades, and then she could return for half the year every year to her mother Demeter. Demeter's sadness over the loss of her daughter is the reason we have winter. And so as the narrative goes, it gives me goosebumps. Tonight is the night of Persephone's descent. This is the night that Demeter loses her to the underworld. And the sadness, the great sadness that overtakes her as Mother Earth, is where we start to notice. And it does happen, right? Like even tonight, I can feel a different chill in the air. It was a beautiful warm day, but I can feel the chill in the air, and I know I can sense that heaviness, that sadness. And so Demeter, her revenge on Hades is a revenge on all of us. We lose our crops, we lose our warmth. And then at the spring equinox, Persephone returns to her mother. And so Demeter celebrates by bringing us flowers in the spring and allowing our crops to reemerge. So if you're familiar with that narrative, you've heard it many, many times. It never loses its magic for me. Pomegranates to me are the fruit of October, and every time I see one, I think of Persephone and her longing for her mother and the trick of Hades, but also, you know, sort of like the wheel of the year, right? And so half the year being that sort of resting, you know, we've reaped all of our harvests and our crops, and now is the time to rest. And in the spring, we can begin to do the work of sowing new seeds. Okay. I'd like to take a chance now. One thing I have noticed today, would love to know if you have thoughts about this too, and you can feel free to share in the feed. I noticed the energy today was really heavy, and there are astrological reasons for that. It just felt stagnant. It felt a little bit conflictual. I think there's just a sense in the air of people needing to be more grounded and connected to really attend to their root chakra and feel more just more aligned. And so I want to ground us and spend a little more time tonight grounding than I typically would. So the first grounding exercise that I'm going to do before I call the corners and open the circle is one that I call the Garnet chord. And so it's a new grounding exercise. I haven't done it with any of these groups before, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. But what I want you to do is sit very, very firmly on the ground wherever you are, or if you're in a chair, wherever you're comfortable. But I want you to sit very straight, your back very straight. I want you to put your hands on your knees with your palms facing up. And we're going to take 3 breaths together. We're going to begin to align our energies together at the level of the breath. The breath is the life force. It is what connects us. So when I say so, I want you to take your first deep breath in, And go ahead and inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. I want you to imagine that you're wearing a belt or a sash, whatever is more comfortable for you, gender-wise or clothing preference-wise, but you're wearing some sort of a belt or a sash. And I want you to imagine that that belt or that sash is made up entirely of garnet stones. Garnet is a red stone. I'm just going to show you quickly on the screen. If you haven't seen garnet before, it's a beautiful deep red. It really is the stone that most closely resembles the pomegranate. In fact, in German, the word for garnet is granata. And if you look at the Romance languages, it all traces back to the Latin word for pomegranate. So it's very symbolic what I'm leading you through here. I want you to imagine that your belt or your sash is entirely made of garnets. And they're just glowing. They're these ruby red garnets with translucency. Garnet is a high vibration stone. It's a beautiful belt or sash that you're wearing. And I want you to imagine that that sash doesn't end, that actually the line of garnets that you're wearing, it extends down to the floor. It's wrapped around your waist, right around your solar plexus chakra, and then it extends down the floor, down past your root chakra. I want you to imagine with me that that sash actually extends beyond the floor and that you can see your garnets as they go into the ground. And then I want you to imagine that that sash or that belt of garnets that begins at your waist, at your navel, and runs down your leg, and you can see it go into the ground, that that sash of garnets or that beam of garnets goes all the way down into the earth. And I want you to imagine that it runs down as far into the earth as you can visualize, down past the layers and layers and layers of stone and rock and soil and sand, down into the very center of the earth, that molten center. And that there, those garnets become crystalline and even become liquefied. And I want you to see that cord running from the middle of your body, the center of your body, down your body into the earth and right into that molten center. And now I want you to almost flip the switch on those garnets. I want you to turn them on and light them up, the brightest red that you can imagine. And I want you to feel them take on a warmth now, that you can feel a temperature and a texture of those garnets. It's not a heaviness, but it's a warmth around the center of your body that wraps and winds down and connects you to the very warmth and center of the earth. And notice as I'm talking, how does your body feel? What do you feel in your hands? What do you feel in your feet? How do you feel connected to the earth and to the ground? As you focus on this band of garnets and just watch them glow. And now I want you to begin releasing that band of garnets or that band or that sash. Imagine pulling it up now with your hand out of the center of the earth, through the layers of rock and soil and sand. Up, up, up through the layers. You're pulling that bright glowing band of garnet. And keep pulling and pulling until you can start to see it in present time, that you're actually pulling it up out of the soil or out of the ground, the foundation of the house where you're sitting. And you're starting to pull it up now to your feet. And really imagine, visualize what that sash or that belt of garnets would feel like in your hand. And now I want you to pull it up and I want you to release it from the middle of your body. And so I did that to really just plug you in for a minute to your middle, to help you imagine a connection between yourself and the center of the earth. That is the best way to ground, and there are so many different ways to do that, but really the goal is for you to have some connection between your navel and your solar plexus, which is your life force, and the very center, the warmth and center of the earth. And so now that we're grounded together, and hopefully that was really helpful for you, I want to go ahead and open our circle because I want to spend a lot of time doing our releasing, our ritual work tonight. So if you haven't lit your candle already, I'm going to ask that you do. I'm going to go ahead and light mine with you. And there goes Vesta. I'm so happy to have everybody here. I see people are still trickling in. Someone said that they had experienced an ad, which is disappointing because we had worked really closely with the folks at Ustream to make sure that didn't happen tonight. So bear with us. If you do see an ad, it's short and it'll be over quickly and you should be right back with us. Okay, so go ahead and light your candle. I always have sets for these rituals because I love making goodies for holidays. That's just the person I am. I think that's really fun. And I'm glad you're feeling those garnets, Hibiscus Moon. It's really good to see you. I'm glad you felt the hot garnets. I think garnets are hot anyway, but you know, it's fun to think about how that can connect you with the earth. In any case, any candle you have is great. It should just be a candle that has meaning for you. And I want to tell you, whatever stones, candle, and oil you have to work with tonight is going to be imbued with the energy of this releasing ceremony. So these are going to become touchstones and reminders of what you have let go. That's really important because every time I look at this piece of red jasper, and I'm releasing right alongside you tonight, I'm going to be thinking about this thing that I'm letting go tonight. And it's a very intentional choice for me of what I've decided to release. So I'm sure you have made very thoughtful decisions, but I just want you to know whatever choices of altar items you have with you is totally, totally fine. I just think it's fun to have things that are seasonal. And I know some of you posted pictures of your altars, which is so fun. If you have a chance to do that ahead of these ceremonies, if you prepare a ritual space or an altar space and you want to share it with the group, we love seeing how you set up your altar to celebrate. Okay, so the way that we open circle together is, again, I'm going to have you close your eyes and I'm going to have you just, again, get very grounded, very connected to the earth, wherever you're sitting, whether it's on the floor, carpet, outside, sitting in a chair, just be very comfortable. I'm going to have you close your eyes again, always with your palms on your knees with your hands facing up. And I want you to realize, I really want you to feel the fact that there are many people in this experience with us live right now. Many, many people. And they are around the world. I've counted 9 countries. I've counted 30 states that are represented. This is a lot of people who have come together to celebrate this with me and with you tonight. So what I want you to do as we open the circles, I want you to check in with that energy and recognize that this is a group of people who've gathered to do this very sacred work together. I want you to imagine that you can feel someone on your left taking your hand and someone on your right taking your hand, and that we are forming an energetic circle together in this moment. And I want you to imagine that there is a white beam of light that unites all of us around this circle, all around the world. I think our farthest reaching point today is Singapore. So it's coming all the way from San Francisco across to Europe, around the world to Singapore, and then back, literally crossing the globe together. And I want you to visualize that beam of light, that white beam that's flowing from one person's hand into your left hand, through you, and out of your right hand to the next person. I want you to imagine that beam of light as 3-dimensional. It is the light that connects us across space and time right now. It's really common for your hands to get warm when we're doing this work. It's common for hands to shake or vibrate. It's also really common for hands to go numb. So if you're having any of those experiences, just want to affirm that that's okay. That's whatever reaction you're having is okay and totally normal. And I want you to imagine that beam of light as just being full of love and radiant life. everyone's highest intentions, that as we collectively release what isn't serving us tonight, that we're making space for what will serve, what we do need, and what we want to create. And even once we close the circle tonight, we will continue to hold that intention for each other and hold that space. So again, feel that energy coming into your left hand, through your body, and exiting out your right hand to the next person who's energetically sitting right alongside you right now. And as you are continuing to hold the space, I'm going to do what we call calling the corners. And for those of you, again, who haven't been through this experience, I have written this quarter calling invocation myself, and it's just a way of acknowledging that within a circle of energy like this, there are 4 directions. And so honoring each of those directions is a critical part of the ritual process. And I'm actually trying to teach you a little bit about formal ritual as we have these experiences together, because I think it's neat. This is this process that we're going through tonight is as old as time. And so I'm sharing this with you, written from my heart, but with the purpose of invoking or calling to the 4 corners or the 4 quarters, the 4 directions, and asking for their support for our energy work tonight. So I call to the elements of the East, and as I call to each of the elements, each one is associated with 3 astrological signs. So this is for Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. And if you are one of those signs, I think you'll probably feel this more deeply than other people will. I call to air and white clouds wandering across a pale blue-violet sky, to the air that lifts them, to the breeze that blows across my face, and to warm summer currents that bring scents of sea and sand. I call to whispers of dawn and ancient voices that speak to me in familiar tongues. I call to the chilly blast of winter's breath and to hurricanes that destroy so that we can recreate. I call to currents that support the wings of the seagull and the winds of my dreams, carrying my hopes and yours for tomorrow. I call to the storms of my heart that are violent and tempestuous, and to desert gusts where lightning strikes and thunder rumbles. Be here with us tonight, powers of air, and let the force of your gentle breezes fill our lungs, open our minds, and lift our spirits. Next, I'm going to call to the elements of the south, and this is where fire lives. This is Aries and Leo and Sagittarius, since I'm a Leo. This is my element. So I call to fire. I call to the dry heat of the desert that burns under a flaming orange sun. I call to the courage of the lion, whose red mane dances in golden majesty about his face. I call to the energy that burns within me and burns within you, to sparkles of fairy magic and the golden glow of citrine stones. I call to the flickering of my candle as it burns, to the lava flowing from wild and untamed volcanoes that are native and free. I call to the bonfire around which we all gather in vision quest together tonight. I call to the warmth of unconditional love that we offer each other in this sacred space. I call to the white sage I burn to clear, clean, and consecrate. Be with us tonight, and let the power of your mighty fire and force warm our hearts, release our fears, and destroy all of our resistance to growth. I'm calling to the elements of the west. This is water. So this is for you, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. I call to water, to the deep blue-green waves that rush the shore, and the dolphin who weaves in and out of the purple sea, daring to explore the deepest waters without fear. I call to the mermaid who is bound to the depths. She personifies flow and grace. I call to the power of those currents that meet me and carry me forward, spiraling and gasping into a future I dare to meet. I call to raging rivers that run wild like my heart. I call to azure lakes where children run at the water's edge, and to the rain in which we dance together, fearless, letting go. I call to destiny as I gaze with you out over endless seas that divide us and connect us. Be here with us tonight, powers of water, and let your graceful forces wash us clean and teach us how to swim with the tide rather than resist its pull. And lastly, I call to the elements of the north. I resist you, Virgos and Capricorns and Taurus, but I shouldn't. Fire and earth are sort of opposing elements. So I always giggle when I get to the powers of the north because we need your wisdom. So this is for you, Virgo and Capricorn and Taurus. I call to earth, to the fields of winter grasses and deep woods that are blanketed in green moss. I call to the dry leaves of summers past that signal autumn and colder nights. I call to the mysteries and the secrets that are held aloft by the jeweled tapestry of black tree limbs that hang against the night sky. I call to the silent trail of the stag as it weaves its way through the dark of the forest, and to Gaia, my great mother, who holds us all in her bountiful embrace. I call to the fruit on her trees for the nourishment of her plants, the blessing of her sacred herbs, to her sand, soil, salt, and spice. I call to rock and to mountain, where we climb to remind ourselves of our own brilliant potential. I call to vistas that are far and wide, landscapes that are green and brown, arid and tropic beauty. Be here with us tonight, powers of earth, and let your grounding force call us into present time, reminding us of the gifts of silence and our connection to land, to each other, to all forms of life. May the delicate and precious balance of these four elements make itself known to you tonight and always. And so it is. And so it is. So we are now encircled together. I hope you feel the energy going around. I hope that corner invocation was really calming and grounding to you as well. And so if you aren't feeling grounded, take additional time now. This is a great time just to check in. If you do need any additional sort of, just ways of getting connected, let me know. One thing you can always do is keep a piece of black tourmaline nearby when you're doing ritual work. This always keeps me very grounded. I usually have at least one piece near me. And so if you find that you're the kind of person who gets very ungrounded during ritual, let me know. Send me a private message, and I'll give you some tips for how you can better ground yourself for this process. Okay, it is time for fire ceremony. I am the mistress of fire ceremony. What we're going to do next is the work. So this is where we're raising our energy together, and then we're going to anoint our gems with our oil. So have your oil ready, have your gemstones ready. After we release our whatever it is we're letting go into the fire, I'm going to have you anoint your gems, and I'm going to talk really quickly about some of the gemstones that I know people are working with tonight. If there's a gem that you want me to speak to in particular when we get there, if you would just put it in the feed, I will make sure that I mention it if I can. Okay, this is another visualization that we're going to be doing together. We're obviously not building a fire physically together, but we are going to build one energetically, and I do think you'll feel it. So I need you again to get very grounded, sit up nice, straight and tall wherever you are. Keep in mind that that energy, that white beam of light that surrounds us right now and connects us, that circle is still alive and active. I have not closed that circle yet, so you should still be feeling that vibe or that beam of energy running through your hands. It's also running through your body, up and down your chakra points, so hopefully you're feeling some alignment there as well. So just sit very still, nice and straight. Take some good, deep cleansing breaths. And I'm going to begin, as I often do, with these guided visualizations. I'm going to take you somewhere with me. And so what I want you to do is just make sure that you're taking good, deep flowing, deep cleansing breaths all the way through this process with me. So I want you to imagine that you and I are walking together, and we are down a path headed toward what looks like a forest. You can see tall trees, whether they're redwood trees, they're old trees that are lying ahead of us. And I want you always to think when we're in these meditations together that there's no time pressure, no one's expecting us, we are relaxed, and we're just walking down this path together toward this forest of massive trees. Imagine that it's about dusk. It's not quite the middle of the day. It's not quite evening. The sun is starting to set. And as we're walking toward this forest of trees, we start to see that there's a clearing ahead. I want you to look down and notice as we're walking together, it's just soil on the ground. It's just dirt. You notice some pebbles here and there. I want you to imagine, if you can, are there any sounds? Do you hear wind flowing through the trees as you and I are walking together? Do you smell anything? Do you smell the scent of pine or just sort of the mountain air? Are you able to breathe more deeply? Really try to get acclimated to the environment that's around you as we walk. And we continue down this path and we can see this clearing up ahead, and you can see that I've already created a space where you and I are going to build this fire together. And you're noticing that there are people, as you look around, there's actually a large circle of people who are gathered around this space. And you and I are showing up right on time. I'm escorting you into this space, this clearing. And you can see that I have created a pile of wood and kindling in the middle of this circle where people have gathered. And all the people around this circle are people that, as you look more closely at the faces, these are people, some of them you know, some of them you don't know, but they're all so happy to see you. They're so happy to see you. And that's the circle of souls and spirits that you're in right now. Everybody in this circle, you may not know them, but they're so happy to know you. They're so happy to have you in this space. You belong here. You feel instantly connected to this kindred. These are people who understand what you're about. You may not know them, but you have a fundamental energetic connection with the people who are in this clearing that I've brought you to. And you notice that each person is sitting next to a piece of kindling. They've gone to the center of the circle, chosen a piece of wood or a branch, some piece of kindling that's there, and they've taken it with them to where they're sitting. And so I'm guiding you to that pile of kindling and asking you to choose a piece, a branch, just a piece of whatever the kindling is that's there. And I want you to imagine that you are going to choose something, some piece of kindling for this fire that I'm about to build. Notice what you're choosing. Are you picking up a branch? Does it have any dried leaves on it? Is it a bare branch? What kind of wood is it? Does it have a texture to it? Does it have bark on it? Does it not have bark? What size is it? How does it feel in your hand? I want you to take it with you, and I'm guiding you now to a seat around the circle. And you're sitting next to me. And so once I take you to your place and I get you comfortable, you watch me move to the center of the circle, and I light the kindling at the very center of the circle to start to build this fire. And you can see me with the flame. And it starts out very small. It's just a small flame to begin. You can see me tending it. And the circle has gotten very quiet now as people are watching. And again, you feel very comfortable and safe. You're here surrounded by people. Again, if you don't know them personally, you just know their energy. And these are people who are here to support you as you do energetic work with them tonight. This is a sacred circle that you're part of. And you watch as I build the fire and I move the wood with my hands. You start to notice that the flame is getting larger and larger. And as I come back to you, I tell you that one by one, each person in the circle is going to get up from where they're sitting and take their piece of kindling to the center of the fire. And they're going to set it on top of the fire. They're going to add to the pyre that we're building. And as they lay their piece of kindling on the fire, they're going to speak out loud what it is that they're choosing to release tonight. And you're ready. You feel like you're ready. You have in mind, you intuitively have known that this is your time to do some releasing work. You've chosen your one or two or three things or feelings or projects or people or experiences that you're ready to let go of tonight. And you watch as some people move forward to the center of the fire. And as you get more comfortable, you notice that you're ready. You feel like you're ready to pick up your piece of kindling and walk to the center of this fire that we built, the center of this circle, and do your releasing. So what I want you to do now is I'm going to keep this space open for about 5 minutes, and I want you to, when you are ready, do that virtual work of taking the piece of kindling that you've chosen, laying on this virtual fire, and saying out loud, wherever you are, and if you're willing to put it in the feed, that would be great too. What is it that you are ready to release tonight? And if you put it in the feed, I'll actually try and speak it out loud in the space here. It really just adds an extra layer of energy and intention to what it is that you're setting free tonight. So I'm holding the space with this meditation. When you are ready, I want you to step forward with your kindling and lay it on the fire and set it free. And Trish, I see that you're releasing resentment. And I love that you're actually going to throw it in a fire. I have a powerful inner pyromaniac, so just knowing that some of you are actually going to burn this up really excites me. Kitty, I see you releasing pain and trauma and suffering. Wanda's letting go of anger. Christy, I see you releasing guilt and grudges so that you can live in the magic of life. Hibiscus Moon, words and thoughts that don't serve you. And I'm going to be very transparent. I'm releasing tonight. I'm letting go of fear of what I can't control. Who knows, right? Life can bring a lot of different things. And so if I can't control it, I'm not going to be scared of it. So that's in my fire. I see Beth releasing my fear of lack of money income, my fear of my marriage crumbling, fear of loss. Luna, I see my lack of enthusiasm for the craft that I had when I first started in middle school. I love that. Jen is releasing fear, health challenges, confusion, lack of clarity. Amen. Emateria, my fear of success, my feeling of not enoughness. Love it. Denise, releasing disease, negativity. Love that. I'm just going to read the releasings without names, just so I can get to as many as I can. I see releasing of attachments to this lover if he's not meant for me. That's a really hard one. Releasing people brings me to tears almost. We have such strong energetic cords in our relationships, and to really do that work of setting someone free and really knowing that we're ready, that's pretty powerful stuff. So I affirm, I bow to you for that. Releasing hurt from past relationships, releasing meaningless words, shallow relationships, doubt, pain, suffering, fear, pain in the body. You know, physical healing is possible, and it happens at the level of energy. I truly, truly in my soul believe it. Also, a lot of our disease comes from energetic disconnection, and when we get aligned and connected, all of a sudden some of our physical symptoms dissipate, and so I truly believe in the connection. And more medical doctors are coming to that conclusion as well. Fear of not reaching my students and empowering each one of them. Absolutely. Those of us who are teachers, I can understand that. I share that. Sweet Mountain Rose, releasing a resistance to my soul's true path. Releasing anger, frustration, fear. So I'm really bowing to each of you tonight for the work that you're doing and releasing. I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is. And so I'm going to ask that you continue to release these to the fire. I'm just going to hold this space for another 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm going to bring us back together. As you're releasing, I want you to take the gemstones that you want to anoint with this energy tonight, and I want you to put them in your non-dominant hand. So for me, that's my left hand. And get your oil ready. So I'm choosing a couple of stones to hold the intention of this release tonight. I'm choosing carnelian. I'm choosing tiger iron. Tiger iron is a combination of tiger's eye and hematite. So it's both protective and grounding, and it's truly one of my favorite stones of all time. And so, and I'm also going to choose garnet. Those are the 3 for me because I'm casting fear into the fire. Those are the 3 for me that are going to hold me with the strength and the resolve that I need to really let go of fear. I think fear is one of the things, the feelings that haunts us most, especially energetic practitioners. And amen. And really burn it in the cauldron. If you really can burn these things, if you really can write them down and put them in the fire, it's so cathartic to actually watch your what you want to release, actually watch it burn up. In a lot of traditional Mabon or fall equinox ceremonies, people really do cast these things to the fire. So even if you do it at a different time or just yourself tonight, you can make a small fire outside. I mean, don't burn your house down, but if you can actually set it up in fire, I think it's very powerful. So I want you to take your oil with your dominant hand. Just take a drop of the oil, and I want you to take 1 drop per stone. So I'm going to anoint my carnelian first, and take a 2nd drop. I'm going to anoint my tiger iron second, just pushing 1 drop into each stone. And as you touch your finger with the oil to each stone, I want you to just imbue that stone with the energies of this experience. And I intend that the stones that we're anointing tonight will serve as reminders of our commitment to release these things that don't serve. And as a matter of practice, I like to take my dominant hand and place it over my non-dominant hand that's holding the stones and just really sit with the energy and the power of this circle. And connect with these stones. Stones do speak to us. I probably sound crazy when I say that, but they really do have a voice and a vibration, and they choose us. I truly believe that stones choose us. And so you're tasking these stones now to do some work, and it's very important work, which is to hold the energy and the strength and the vitality for you to be able to sit in the release of these things. I see that someone's stone just fell off their altar. So I would say that's an awesome release. Maybe it wants to be released from this experience. Releasing fear. Okay. And when you're ready, set those stones aside. Make sure you know which ones they are. They should smell really good right now. Mine smell like cinnamon and clove and all of the oils that I put into my Vesta oil, which is what I use to anoint. And I always, before I don't wash my hands of this oil. This is sacred oil, so I always anoint my 3rd eye with what's left on my finger. And that's just to check in with my intuition. It's really making a connection between your intuition, your deep knowledge as a spiritual being about the work that you're doing, and these stones that are now holding the energy of this experience. How are you feeling? You just set something big free. I'm really proud of you. I'm really supportive of the work that you're doing. This is very brave. This is serious business that we're engaged in right now, and I really would like to hear from you after this experience, how you're feeling, how you're maintaining it. The work that we're going to be doing in October, I just want to give you a quick update about October, is supportive of this release. And so what we're going to be doing at the October moon is looking at the process of surrender. So you've let something go. How do we surrender to that process and really stop trying to control so much what happens in our life, so that we can really let energy work? And so you'll see that October's meeting like this, the live ritual that I'll be holding, will be an extension really of the conversation that we've started tonight. Okay, still honoring all of your releasing. But what I'm going to have us do now is come back together. Continue breathing. Make sure that you're breathing all the way through this process. And imagine that you're back now in this circle, or you never left really, around this fire that we've been building. The fire's gotten bigger and stronger for all the kindling and all the releasing that's been done. That fire is holding that space for us now. Fire burns clean. It's one of the most powerful elements to work with. It has the power to destroy, it has the power to heal, it has the power to literally clean whatever needs to be cleansed in one of the most pure ways possible. And so as we sit in this circle watching this fire, I'm going to begin the process of grounding us and releasing the circle. So I want you to imagine that the energy of all of this releasing now, we're going to send that energy down into the earth. Imagine it almost like the trunk of a tree with deep, deep roots. As you look around the circle, you think about all the people who are on this experience right now in this room with us, this virtual room. Imagine that each of them, coming out of their tailbone, has roots like a tree going down into the earth. And they're releasing all of the work that we've done together tonight out into the soil, out into the earth, and back to its source, where it's transformed. All those things that aren't serving us that we've released will be transformed into our highest good, creating a space for what needs to come into our life and what needs to manifest in order for us to make progress. I want you to see those roots coming out of your own tailbone, going down, down, down into the earth. And just feel that the connection that you have, that connection is always there. When you find yourself flying around in life and feeling like you're not connected and you don't have the energy you need, just plug in. Those roots are always there. You just need to visualize them, come into the present time, and send your energy down into the center of the earth to plug into it. And now that band of light that's connecting us, that white beam of light, I'm going to begin to have us release it now. So that white beam, that glowing, white, luminous, three-dimensional, warm beam of light, we do have to let it go now. It's so hard to do. I can truly feel each of you. I have such love for you and such appreciation for you tonight. Just visualize the beam not quite as bright now. Letting it go from your hands, releasing it. Again, releasing it to go and do its work. It doesn't, energy is, it changes form. We don't remove energy, it just changes shape and it goes and it transmutes to some other kind of form. And so we're sending that energy now from our circle out into the universe and down into the earth to do its work, to support our highest good. And as you release, I want you to come back into present time now. If you've had your eyes closed, I want you to start to open your eyes and feel your fingers and toes wiggle around. We talked during the last ritual, it's very natural to feel kind of a buzz after you've been in live circle and after you've been in virtual circle. I teach a class called a Magical Sabbatical, and we talked about this experience in that group, and everybody was saying that they had a hard time sleeping the night after the Blue Moon ritual. So if you're feeling that, it's a very normal experience, but that buzz is also a very real energetic connection that we have just established with each other, and it's a very powerful kind of intimacy that we have as a group. And as this group grows and, like I said, spreads around the world, it's very powerful. And you're so welcome. It's such a divine honor and pleasure to be able to hold this space for you. So it's hard to get grounded enough even to talk about other things, but I have a couple of things I wanted to share with you. We do have really good news. I did a giveaway this past week at Sage Goddess, and so it's for a set called the Abundance set, and it was a set of gems. It's an oil and a candle called Fortuna, which is Latin for fortune or luck. And the winner of that set, I don't know if she's on the call, is Nicole Ben or Bean. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right, Nicole. So if you are on the line, I'm thrilled to be able to tell you live that you won the giveaway. But if you're not, I'll be sure to follow up with you afterward and let you know. It was a random drawing. It was really hard. There were 220 entries into that giveaway. So thank you everybody who entered. And what I want to say about the giveaway is, in order to enter, you had to write a comment with your intention, what it is that you want to grow in your life. Because there's two parts to this next 2 months. One of them is what you want to release, and one of them is, the second part is, what do you want to create? Whenever you release something, you're creating energetic space to bring something else in. And so I really wanted people to sit with an intention for what they want to have flow into their lives. And it was beautiful to see people set those intentions. And so what we said as a group is, when the person who wins this set, when you light this candle, you are lighting it for all of us, and you're holding the intentions of these 220 people who made really strong commitments in their comments to what it is that they want to grow and develop in their lives. So many thanks for entering that giveaway. It was very exciting to choose a winner, and I hope you love it, Nicole. Okay, a couple of other things I want to share with you. So our next circle is Monday, October 29th. If you liked this and you thought this was fun, we will do it, like I said, every month, and it will always be free. That is my soul work commitment, that I will support the process of keeping this experience accessible to anyone who wants to participate. You can do it by yourself. You can invite friends to be with you in person while you log on. Lots of different people do it many different ways. But the next one will be Monday, October 29th. It's the blood moon. It is a full moon, and it's the full moon that's closest to Halloween. And so we are going to be celebrating the concept of surrender. And so I just wanted to show you, because this is the set. I always make a set for the ritual. This set is honoring Caridwen. Caridwen is the goddess of the cauldron. And so the stones for October, and if you have them yourself, you don't need to, you have the set, but these are the stones that I've chosen. The stones for October are charoite. This is a very powerful stone. Snowflake obsidian, smoky quartz, peacock ore or bornite, and hematite. So those are the 5 stones that come in the set that I'm offering, with an oil called Magica Nocta, which is a night magic oil, and then surrender. And the candle inscription reads, as fall turns to winter, we yield to change and surrender the blossoms of summer flowers to the inevitable chill of winter days. We call upon grace and strength, hope and faith to ease our transition and prepare space for our blessings to come. So I'm excited to share that with you, and like I said, that's all in preparation for October. I think it's going to be a really exciting ceremony. What I want to tell you about October, if you don't know this already, there are 2 times a year. So just like there are 2 equinoxes, one in March and one in September, there are 2 times each year. One is in May and one is in October, when the saying is that the veil between the worlds, between those of us who are living and those who are deceased, is thinnest. And so it's easiest to have psychic experiences, to connect with spirits on the other side in May and in October. The night of the year when those connections are most easily made is October 31st, give or take 3 nights. And so that Monday, October 29th, I'm actually going to be doing some work that may allow you to connect with spirits on the other side. So if that's something that interests you, I hope you'll join me for that October 29th ritual. I'm going to make that registration page available right after this experience, so in the next 10 or 15 minutes, and so you can head over and register if you want. And like I said, invite as many people as you want, because it's free, and I think it's allowing people to experience ritual and magic in their life, which I think is so important. And then I also wanted to let you know that I have 2 classes that are coming up. So a lot of you have asked me if I teach classes, and I do. I have a class called the Magical Sabbatical that will be opening for registration again in November. And then in January, I'm excited to announce that I'm teaching my first standalone 4-week class on the shadow. So if you have been wanting to do shadow work, that is the class for you. I've never seen a course on shadow work, and I've never taught a course on shadow work, but I've been doing shadow work as a practitioner for many years, and so I'm really excited. A lot of you I know are interested in delving into what it means to understand the shadow. And so if you want more information, there'll be more information on my website, but that class will be happening in January. It's all virtual, and it's go at your own pace. And I'll be putting in, information and details on the blog. Registration will open for that in November too. So I'm blessed. I get to interact with you in so many different ways, whether it's here or in the courses or on the Sage Goddess Facebook page. But I just want to tell you that I truly believe that this work is sacred, and it truly is my honor to be able to connect with you and help you open yourself fully to what it means to have magic in your life. I think life is really short, and I think people who enjoy their lives most fully are open to the idea that there's more to it than we can see and hear and sense with our 5 senses. There's much more. So hopefully you got a little glimpse of that tonight. And what I'm going to do now, I want to be respectful of your time. It is 7 p.m. my time, but I'm going to stay online to do some Q&A. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them. But for those who have to leave, since it is a time, I want to say thank you. I want to send you blessings. I want to tell you that I'm continuing to hold the space for your intention. After this experience, I go through and I read each and every comment, and each and every intention I will read out loud, and I really am holding the space for what it is that you're releasing. So I stand with you, alongside you, as you do this brave work. So blessings to you. I look forward to seeing you in October if you have to sign off, and if you don't, please feel free to list any questions. I'd be happy to answer those. And I'm just reading comments. You're so welcome. And we do apologize for the ads. I don't know exactly why that happened, because we specifically did work to try and avoid that. So all I can promise you is there will not be ads next time. I truly apologize for that. It's a program that we're experimenting with, and we may go with a different one next time. You're so welcome. It does go by fast, doesn't it? It really does. I'll say that as I'm waiting for anyone who wants to ask a question. You know, energy doesn't work in a linear way, and so I'm constantly trying to teach people that we as humans are trying to understand energy in a way that we can describe using the very limited perspective and language that we have. And so we operate in linear time, in hours and minutes. That's not how energy functions. And what I tell people is, when you sign up for a releasing ritual like this one, even if you register a month and a half in advance, that work begins the day you register, because you're setting an intention. It doesn't happen during this hour. It's been happening for weeks since you signed up, and it's going to happen for weeks afterward. This experience doesn't end right now just because I hit stop on the computer. So just really recognizing that this is not how energy works. It doesn't work on our time and in our space. There are multiple dimensions, and we can only see what we can see. So we're trying to understand really complex stuff with human abilities. It's very difficult. I'm blessed to be in circle with you too. So one question coming in about the magical sabbatical. Every time it's offered, it will be different. The premise will be the same. So the premise is that we're trying to create a space with the magical sabbatical experience for people to undergo a shift in their lives. And so that shift is something they define. But what we create in the magical sabbatical is a container to hold that. So whatever it is that you want to change, the magical sabbatical is just sort of it's a course, but it's really a program designed to put an infrastructure in place to help you do that. And so if you'd like more information on that, there'll be more coming up on the blog. But every time I offer the sabbatical, which will be 4 times a year, there'll be a theme for each time I offer it, different exercises and activities, probably somewhat different groups that are working too. I imagine some people will stay consistently in the group, but registration will open every 3 months, and so that'll be kind of a portal for new people to enter. You're so welcome. I'm glad this has been helpful in terms of helping you think about ritual. Everybody does ritual in different ways, and so sharing my process and my particular way of doing it with you is really special. But I also want to honor the fact that there's lots of ways to do ritual. And I see Jen talking about her fluorite. It seems to want out. Not quite sure what to say about that one. It is funny, you know, sometimes I've had gemstones break. I've had them practically hop off tables, you know, and they have an energy and a vibration all their own, and it's really important to tune in and listen to them. Sometimes gems, we want to bring them into an experience, but they don't want to be part of that experience, and so it's listening for, I mean, even just now, the intuitive work I did around the fact that, you know, I don't need citrine to release fear, but I really felt like I needed garnet to do that work. So no classes planned right now on astral projection. It is something that I know a lot about and I practice, but it gets woven into conversations. We've been talking about it in the magical sabbatical, for example, because there are certain gemstones that facilitate astral travel, and so it does come up in the different courses. Where to put your stones? I just want to address that really quickly. Some people choose to put them in pillowcases and use them for dream state meditation work. Some people carry them in their purse or their pocket. The men I work with like to do that. Men, it's easy for men to carry a gemstone or two around in their pocket. But certainly you can keep them on your bedside table if you want to create a sacred space or an altar space wherever you are. Some of us have multiple sacred spaces. I have one in every room, but you have to decide what feels right for you. When I do magic like this, where I am charging up particular stones for a purpose, I like to take them and spread them. So I'll keep one with me in my purse, you know, one with me at my work desk where I can see it all the time. But you want them to be touchstones and reminders. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. If you do have additional questions, I'm going to stop the recording and the broadcast now, but I want to say thank you so much. I'm really excited, especially for those of you for whom this was a first experience. I think it's just really exciting to see you come into a ritual process and start to think about life from a ritual perspective. The reality is ritual is just taking mundane things and recognizing the beauty and the magic inherent in them. That's truly my definition of ritual. You can see dinner as a sacred ritual. You can see taking your children to school as a sacred ritual. Everything in life can be viewed that way. So this is just honoring a seasonal transition and seeing the incredible inherent beauty in that process too. I do use something other than sage. I use Palo Santo, and that's pretty easily accessible online. It's a resin, it's a wood from Peru, and it's considered very sacred in South America. So I use that as a sage alternative. It smells a little sweeter and nicer, so some people like that better than white sage. You are so welcome. Like I said, I will continue to hold this space for you. And I see that 2 people tonight have asked about books for people who are new to magic. I have a whole library of books, and so I'd want to think about that before I really put my, sort of my name behind something in particular, because most books will tell you, a couple things that are helpful and a couple things that, in my opinion, are not particularly helpful. What I really want to inspire you to do is think about how you want to engage in your magical practice or in your ritual practice. So much of what I do is intuitive, and so I studied ritual and magic and Wicca actually for a number of years very seriously. I don't consider myself Wiccan, but I studied for a long time, and in any case, most of what I do now is just an amalgam of traditions from my own ancestral past, which is part Native American and part Mediterranean, and also stuff that I learned from Wiccan traditions, and then some of it even can be traced back to Judeo-Christian practices as well. And so it's really eclectic what I do. So mostly what I would just encourage you to do is feel what's right for you, and don't think there's rules, because really there isn't. It has to be what resonates and feels right and best for you and your own experience. But yes, life is a ritual. And so, bringing candles and gems and oils to it just allows you to have touchstones that remind you of the magic that really is alive in every minute. So sending you love tonight from my heart to yours truly. So blessed to have you with me. It's such an honor. And wishing you an incredible, incredible fall season. I will see you in just over a month. It's about 5 weeks on October 29th. So much love. Take good care. Enjoy the turning of the wheel, and I'll see you soon.